green. This is in my blood, it's in my veins. We bleed green. Fans, hell yeah. It's for the team, it's for number 8. This will get it. Green runs deep, you know I got my team behind me. Things been looking up ever since we ditched Kai. 22 teams at the top where you gon' find me. Feeling like the number 1 pick. Like
We ready or what, Jake?
I've been ready. Let's go.
Jake,
Talk
producer
Celtics basketball.
Jake, we ready to talk about basketball? Kyle, we ready? Reid, we ready to talk about basketball?
Ben, ready.
Let's go.
Reid the basketball nerd. I want you. Usually we have Jake prepared with the list. He probably has like 1,000 things to talk about. Reid, what's the first thing you want to talk about? Because there's a lot to talk about on tonight's episode, and we only have 10 minutes to talk.
Just briefly talk about the Sixers series. Just wrap that up as we move on to Toronto. Kyle, would you like to start out with your initial thoughts about that?
Yeah, I'd like to apologize to all of GRD Pod Nation. I said after Hayward went down that it would be Celtics in 6, not Celtics in 4. I'm sorry for being a hater. We absolutely thrashed them. So this is my formal apology saying that I doubted you and I should never have doubted you, Celtics Nation.
I think I had them 5 coming in, but turns out I was wrong. Could have been 4. That probably should have been that in the first place. I really thought I was really more scared about the series coming in than I should have been. But you could really just see like Philly just is not a cohesive unit on the floor with their current roster as it is with Brett Brown. Obviously, that's a thing in the past, literally as of yesterday. So they're already looking ahead to their future. It could look very different. But that team as constructed wasn't going to get it done, maybe with Simmons as well. But I think the series as a whole, like, even though, yes, it was a sweep, I don't really feel all that great still because I think games 1, 3, and 4 that we still won could have been a lot bigger of a spread between them. Like game 2 was obviously that big blowout where everything seemed to go right. But there's still holes within our attack, like the bench. Like you can get away winning a series with a poor bench like that against Philly, but you definitely can't. Maybe you can, but it's not likely against a team like Toronto, which their bench literally just scored 100 points last game. So that kind of scares me a little bit. Jake, do you have any thoughts about the game, about the series?
You're going to pass it over to Jake without me getting a couple words in?
Would you like to go last?
I do really like to go last, but I want to comment before we even go deeper in on this subject because I don't even know what the subject is. But look at what I'm wearing. Look at what Kyle's wearing. And next episode, follow in our footsteps because you guys are both boring.
My bad.
So we're talking about the Celtics Sixers.
Let's go.
You go. I'll get a different shirt. I got a shirt
that you'll better not be that Booker.
I gotta go last. Jake.
No, it's not.
Jake, I gotta go last, bro.
Oh, you gotta. Okay.
While I'm talking and giving my opinion, because it probably doesn't even matter. You could go change.
All right. So, my initial take of the series, I said they go 5 games. I thought it would be an interesting series because I thought Embiid would actually not just quit. I thought Embiid quit. I think the whole Sixers team quit in general. Al Horford just showed, like, dude, like you literally got paid, but you're never gonna win anything. Like straight up, like you're not winning again. You should have stayed in Boston. But I really thought this was going to be a 5-game series, and obviously the Celtics, they just took the broomsticks out. That was that. They took the broomsticks out and didn't look back.
Yeah, I thought we would lose a game because I feel we always you had to count just that one Embiid game, but we were given 4 Embiid games and it really just didn't matter. Like we were still able because they don't have any other attack without Simmons. Like they can't rely solely on Embiid. So like we let him get his 30 and 12 wherever he had that series, and it really just did not matter because that supporting cast around him was just trash.
First ever sweep in 21 series, I think it was.
Yeah, the first sweep between these two, which we had that trump card, which is nice.
It's only the third one in 33 years or something, or second one in 33, something like that.
The first one between the Celtics-Sixers, though, they said.
So basically, when it comes down to that series between Philadelphia and Boston, I said it before the series started. It was over before it began. It came down to coaching. And Brett Brown, he was coaching for his life. If he made it to the second round without Simmons, maybe they might have gave him another year or two. However, that being said, Brad Stevens has had Brett Brown's number since day one. That's where Brad Stevens does not get enough credit. And Kyle, this is where me and you want to get into a fist fight. You don't think Brad Stevens deserves it, bro? He 4-1 the Sixers while they had Ben Simmons, and then he 4-0'd them without him. You can say whatever you want to say. We didn't have Kyrie and Hayward when we faced them with Ben either. Sixers fans will forget about that. But this series did tell me a lot about players' characteristics. I think that Tobias Harris showed that he has a lot of heart. He came back after he had his head busted open in Game 4 when he knew that his team was getting whacked. And I think that he did that, and that was very smart. At least, like, people will want to buy his jersey after that. But his jersey is still going to be meaningless, like, when he's traded for the absolute trash on the end of a bench when they need to dump his huge contract so they can actually, like, bring players that have potential, because he is not getting them over the hump. Neither is Al Horford. They gotta do something. The Sixers are, like, they're paddling right now up Schitt's Creek, and then their paddle's just fucking broke right there because they're not going anywhere. They're going right back down. I do not see – they have 2 stars, and I don't see anything good coming out of Philadelphia until they do some major moves. Sorry about taking so much airtime. You can edit that out if you want.
Well, it's nice having Al Horford seems to still be on our roster, considering he went over to Philly for a $109 million contract and, absolutely did nothing. So he's just working in disguise, bro.
He got paid, dude. My man got left and got paid, and he's not winning. I'm sorry, it's the truth.
Real quick, where's your jersey? I thought you were supposed to change.
Oh, all right, my bad. I kind of forgot about the jersey.
Nah, I think I was talking a lot, and I think I had this guy very, very interested in what I was talking about.
I thought it was a good take. I like the paddling up the creek. I thought that was a pretty funny analogy. I like that one.
I mean, it's very true.
It's the
if
truth,
you're
though.
A Philadelphia 76ers fan, you cannot even defend your team's actions right now. It's basically like, yeah, our team sucks and we know it. Our ownership sucks. And Elton Brand gave Al Horford a crazy contract that he did not deserve.
Right. They're looking at like Tyronn Lue's like their next like head, like who they're looking at for a head coach. That seems incredibly lateral to what they have right now with Brett Brown.
We'll see.
He's not a bad coach, though. I mean, I don't think that it'll work, but I mean, he's better than Brett Brown.
Yeah, that doesn't take much. Like, first of all, do we have any other thoughts about the series altogether before I make this segue? Or
series altogether, I'm not gonna say much. I could act like a hard ass and say I knew it was Celtics in 4. I did predict it, whatever. I thought the Sixers would give us a little bit more of a challenge, though.
Right.
But they did not.
Count the game. That just never happened.
After game 1, something told me I was like even more confident. You guys saw my fucking post the whole series. I said Celtics in 4 every game. I just knew the series was over after I saw the Sixers come out in that lackluster performance game 1, in my opinion. That's it.
So you talk about like the Brad Stevens has Brett Brown's number throughout his whole career, but you shift over to Toronto with literally the coach of the year, Nick Nurse, and that coaching battle becomes a lot more interesting. You look like you have something to say.
Wait, the coaching what?
Coaching
so you're saying Brad Stevens versus Brett Brown
versus Nick Nurse. We're transitioning to Toronto.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're comparing the two. And what's their head-to-head record? So if you're bringing them up, you probably know their record already.
I don't. I'm invoking discussion.
Producer Jake, since you haven't even changed your shirt, can you at least do something for us on this podcast and bring up Nick Nurse head-to-head record between Brad Stevens? And while you're doing that, I'm going to let you know that it's absolutely useless because none of these games are being played north of the border in Canada because those people do not even allow United States citizens up there right now, I don't think. Do they?
No, I don't know.
Either way.
I have no idea.
We're playing in the bubble. The Boston Celtics statistically have absolutely sucked in Toronto over the last 10 plus years, whatever. I'm so thankful that we're playing Toronto for the first time ever, and it's not in Toronto, it's in the bubble. Right. So I think that we're going to take care of them just because of that. If we were going to Toronto, like I said earlier in one of the podcasts, Jake, what did I say it was going to be?
A bar fight, and I was not going to go. I was too young.
And I honestly think this series is still going to be a bar fight in the bubble. But it's going to be very interesting with Kyle Lowry out and Gordon Hayward not coming back either. It's going to be interesting.
It's definitely a coaching battle for sure. I think between Nurse and Stevens, like who's going to outcoach the other? They're two of the best young coaches in the league. But then you also got to point out like who's the best player in the series? Like, is it Tatum? Is it Siakam? I personally think it's Tatum. I think he's proven that this series altogether. But as far as like what would come next, let's say if we were in the chance we were to pull out against Toronto and face Milwaukee, I'm not going to get too far ahead, but I'm focusing on this series alone. I would feel very strong about our chances against Milwaukee if we knock off Toronto, because I think there's a difference between the best team in the conference versus having the best player. Like, you can have the best player in the series and still lose. We just saw that with Philly. Like, I think people will consider Embiid the best player in that series. It really doesn't matter. You need the best team. And right now, the Raptors kind of almost look like the best team in the bubble altogether. So it's going to be that bar fight, like you were saying. Like, it's going to take a whole effort from Tatum, especially. You got Walker, who's starting to look more and more like himself, especially Game 4. Brown looking
that money. He's earning that money. Exactly one of my points right there, because he was not this regular season. I don't think he was playing to max player potential.
I think he was good for sure. It just wasn't cardiac yet.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
He was an all-star, but I feel like his all-star appearance was like easy in the East, in my opinion. But he won games. That's the most important thing.
Did he start? Wasn't that someone crazy? He started, right?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, that was the most underwhelming thing. I totally forgot about that. Like, Kemba Walker started.
You know why he started?
Because of East guards.
No, because he came to Boston, bro. If he was like on the Knicks or something, I don't think he would have started.
That's actually a good point though, because not that he went to the Knicks or whatever, but a lot of people, like when the voting happened, a lot of people were crediting the Celtics' success to Kemba Walker, and then right before the All-Star break, when Kemba Walker kind of went out with those injuries and Tatum absolutely lit it up, they kind of it's kind of shifted like the perspective, but a lot of people did credit Kemba with the Celtics' success early on.
Hell yeah! All right, so we got about 10 more minutes left on this podcast. I think that we should jump right into this Toronto series. We'll go in order. We're going to touch on all these series throughout the playoffs. On the next episode, I want to give everybody's opinions on every series once they all finalize.
Right.
But right now, we do know the Boston Celtics and Toronto Raptors are going to play each other. Let's get it.
All right. You want to start? Kyle, you want to start off?
Yeah, I think one of the big things that I had no idea about even until today was that Kyle Lowry is going down with an ankle sprain. So I think he's currently listed day-to-day. So I don't think he could miss the series, but it might just be a couple games. But I think that really impacts the Raptors, because then at that point you're looking at like you got Pascal, and then your next best player is going to be like Van Vliet. And don't get me wrong, two very good young players. But when you have Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, like those people playing defense on them, I really think the Celtics lock them up. And the Kyle Lowry injury really changes this series a lot. And I think that really helps the Celtics, and they win this series because of that.
What do you have them winning in?
Oh, that's See, I had them in 6 before the Kyle Lowry injury, but I think I'm going to go 5. I think this is going to be a good series just because of that, but I don't know. I really do think Kyle Lowry is just the real big X factor on whether or not the Raptors can go further against the Celtics.
So before I get into my take, I do want to add real quick 2 things. So Kyle Lowry, he's a game-time decision, and he's hopeful for Game 1. And also, I did look up the head-to-head stat, and the Celtics have played with Nick Nurse as a head coach. They played 7 times in the last 2 seasons, and we've only lost twice to him. So that's a pretty good pretty good little stat right there for Brad Stevens. I know Kyle Lowry, him going down is really bad for Toronto, but their bench is so deep, and their bench is incredible. I mean, like you said, Reid, they scored 100 points the other night, and honestly, I think that their bench is going to outplay our bench. That's guaranteed. But honestly, I think the bench, I don't think it's a stretch to say that there's a game where they kind of carry the load off the stars for a little bit, kind of give them like a little, rest in the series. And I think, Corey, you said it's going to be a bar fight. This is a 7-game series. It has 7 games written all over it. Our starters, okay, yeah, we outplay their starters, but their bench outplays our bench, and it's going to come down to who plays better defense and who hits the more shots and stuff like that. I mean, I know that's basketball and like a lot of things, but this is playoff basketball, and I think defense is going to be the one thing that kind of tips it over the edge.
Yeah, like I'll. First of all, what do you have? What do you have in the series? We'll end it with that for each.
Definitely 7 games. I don't want to be a home. I mean, I don't know. I could see the Raptors winning straight up, but I'm going to go Celtics. I think Tatum takes over that game 7. I think he just absolutely lights it up. I think he puts the Celtics over the edge. So I'm gonna go Celtics in 7.
I'm just gonna wrap up all my points I made earlier about the coaching battle and who's best player. I think that's gonna. It didn't have as much effect as it did as I thought it would in the Sixers series. We really just needed. We were just a better team than Philly overall. That's gonna matter this series. It's gonna be a chess match between Nurse and Stevens. Each of them are going to hold the other in check, and it's just going to be a game of runs and who can recover from those, who can make the right calls, right rotations. Something that Stevens has been criticized before in the past is rotations. And you got the battle between Tatum and Siakam. I do think Tatum's a more established player, all around. I think the one weak spot of Siakam's game is his 3-point shooting, and Tatum has excelled at that thus far in the bubble. As far as the playoffs go. So I think you definitely have the best player in the series, but you're playing against what I think is the best team in the conference, maybe in the league right now in the bubble. So that does worry me because they're just top to bottom, the better team, which I hate to say, but it's just the truth. But that won't slow us down. I do think that the Lowry injury might affect it to a certain degree. It's definitely not as severe as Hayward's. He's not going to miss extensive time. Like you said, maybe a game. I expect him to play game 1. It's just a multitude of factors again. You don't have to go to Toronto to play. That's hostile for any team, not just the Celtics. You've seen the playoff atmosphere in Toronto. You got fans outside the arena, down the street. You don't have that this year. You're in the bubble, so that's out the window. Overall, I got Celtics in 6. I do think that that bench is gonna have a game or two for Toronto where they're just gonna beat up our second unit. I think there'll be a random Serge Ibaka game where just dominates the whole thing. Something crazy like that we just can't stop. We don't have an answer for. But I do have us pulling away in 6, and I think that it'll be a strong test to see if we can beat this team right now. I think that I really like our chances against Milwaukee. I think Toronto's a better team than Milwaukee. Milwaukee just has the best player on the planet at the time, who just propels this team to the best record in the NBA. So I got Celtics in 6.
That's it.
You got Celtics in 6. Nothing to elaborate more on.
I mean, I'm still not impressed with Jake's attire, so I'm not even gonna continue, or shall I? I'll talk about Boston Celtics versus Toronto Raptors. But next episode I come on, both of you guys better be dressed to impress, head to toe, ready to go. I'll say it quick. These defending champion dinosaurs cannot hang with the Boston Celtics. We don't have to go to the 6. Drizzy Drake, fake love. It's Boston Celtics in 4. And today is a good day for the cops to get arrested that killed Breonna Taylor. Bitch.